Oh, hi everyone! Hello, Doc Grace. Magandang gabi sa'yo.
Hello. Hi! We are live na, no? Hello to everybody who is here.
Hello. So we are broadcasting po sa iba't ibang platforms namin. So welcome po sa lahat. If hindi pa po kilala, kami po yun ni Doc Grace, yung mga co-founders ng Low-Carb Con. So you are seeing us probably sa Low-Carb Con. You are also seeing us sa Life Without Rice. Nakikita niyo rin po kami sa Low-Carb Fasting and Feasting community. Nasa Filipino Success Movement din po kami. Dito rin tayo sa YouTube, sa Filipino-Canadian Organization, and also Global TV. Doc Grace, yung ating, ang ating home station.
Yes, love na love
Yeah,
natin yan. Sir Norman Crespo, no? Thank you always for the support.
yes. Norwin Crespo, sir. Maraming salamat po. Thank you for paving the way, for introducing me and Doc Grace. And finally, here we are. Dito na po tayo. Doc Grace, exciting yung pag-uusapan natin ngayong gabi.
Yes, very much,
Yeah.
very much. Kasi isa siya sa pinaka-importanting goals talaga natin. We are always talking about nutrition, we are always talking about fasting, exercise, low carb, at marami pang iba. Pero yung ultimate goal naman talaga natin sa lahat is longevity.
Yes, that's right. I think ito yung talagang common, sabihin na natin sigurong passion nating dalawa, when we started to get together. Doc Grace, I think medyo may konti tayong lag. Pakilagay po sa comment kung sino man po yung mga nanonood. Are you noticing po a little bit of a lag? Kasi minsan may ganyan po, Is it coming on okay po, yung aming broadcast?
So baka mayroong konting lag. I'm not sure if it's the ads. Minsan nagkakaroon kasi ng ads eh. But if wala naman,
Oh,
it's going to be okay. Kung may ads, kung alang seconds yung ads, that's going to be the lag. But they can just keep up.
okay. So sige, we're gonna continue po. Ano lang, kasi I will just pace myself. Kasi for me, Doc Grace is coming on a little bit later.
Okay.
So pakiano lang po kung merong sabi naman nila Doc Grace loud and clear, batiin natin yung ating mga Doc Grace. So Melvin is here watching from YouTube. Thank you. Hello daw po, Sir Norwin. Hello. Andito rin po si Miss Cheryl Sibog. Hello. And yung mga iba, wala tayong names. Facebook users, hello po. Sa mga Facebook users, Mysteries Belsis Kang is also here. Andito rin si, sino pa po? May Mendoza is also here. Magandang gabi raw sa atin. Clear naman daw, sabi ni, yan, sabi ni Miss Cheryl is clear. And ayan, so yung hindi po, medyo mabilis yung pagdating ng comments natin. So kung hindi po mabate, later na lang po. Oh, ayan, Doc Grace, someone from my region is watching from Toronto. Si
Very active
Miss,
yan sa
yes,
ating groups, Life Without Rice, Low Carb Feasting and Fasting Community, and also helping in our pages. Kapag merong mga tanong yung mga newbies, si Sir kasi parang hindi newbie talaga to sa low carb. Magaling na to.
oh
Magaling na sa low
nice.
carb and fasting, and it's a good thing that we have a community. And speaking of community, actually isa rin yan sa mga important aspect ng ating pag-uusapan tonight, no? Na this is the value of us getting together. Kasi yung ating goal of longevity is hindi lang talaga basta sa tamang kain, sa tamang exercise, sa tamang fasting. Meron pang ibang aspect that we will talk about tonight.
Yes, kasi talagang tayo, we look at it in the holistic way, in a way na maganda na many times people can come into this journey from different, kumbaga parang avenues, right? Sometimes ang magdadala sa kanila dito is the desire to lose weight. And then suddenly, things, yun nga yung sinabi ni Doc Grace, ang kagandahan ng being part of the community is you evolve, you're actually progressing. So, syempre, unang goal mo muna is losing weight, and then makikita mo dun sa group, people are also doing, for example, movement. So, may exercise na doon, and eventually, nakikita mo na doon yung parang support. So, there are other layers to it, other aspects to it, and certainly, yun yung na-excite kami. Kasi, yun yung, I think, pinag-usapan na natin to even before, nung una tayong nag-meet, na sometimes, it's hard to ano agad yung parang i-present yung holistic aspect of it agad-agad. People have to naturally progress, 'di ba?
Yes.
So I think yun yung kagandahan ng yung growth kasi talaga is continuous improvement. So yeah, so very excited tayo, right? So tingnan natin, Doc Grace, let's have a look here if meron na tayong, kasi I want to field also some questions. Sometimes may nagko-question agad, so we can leave some space for it later. Tingnan natin. So tonight, kung nakita niyo na po yung title, ang pag-uusapan namin ni Doc Grace is about blue zoning. Yung mga iba sa mga communities members natin, I think they are already familiar. Yung iba may have already read yung tungkol sa blue zone areas. So blue zone, do you want to talk a little bit about it, Doc Grace? The blue zone areas, just to start off, para ma-orient yung mga nanonood ngayon what this talk is all about.
Yes, so blue zones, ito yung one of the largest scale study no na kung saan yung may by record, okay? By record dito yung may pinakamaraming centenarians or people living beyond 100 years old. So kung sa Pilipinas, sila yung makakatanggap ng 100,000 pesos. Dito daw sa Pilipinas, kapag maka-reach na ng 100 years old, merong 100,000 pesos from the government. Although personally, wala pa akong kilala, kilala lang ng kilala. But in here, we are looking at the aspects that are common among blue zones. And I think it's just a good disclaimer that although marami ring ibang theories debunking blue zones, but we cannot also deny that the common findings that are found in the blue zones, meron siyang 9 aspects that we can talk about tonight and para for us to learn. Okay? And hindi lang ito basta long life. Okay? We are looking at vitality, looking at longevity, reason to live, and many more. Kasi hindi lang po enough na buhay tayo. It's not something to be desired, no? Kung isipin mo at 90 and then for the rest of 20 years bedridden ka lang pero buhay. That's not the life that we are after. We are after a life with reason, a life with longevity nga, and yung
Purpose, yes.
yes, purpose and yung strength of and vigor of youth para magawa talaga natin kung ano yung parang meant tayo gawin. So, our topic for tonight, as what you said, no, it's blue zoning the Philippines because wala pa sa blue zones list yung Philippines. But we will try to emulate how to possibly, baka hindi natin alam. By doing this, maybe baka tayo pa ang magsimulang maging centenarians. Who knows?
Yes, it's so exciting. Ano kasi, uh, hindi naman sa, maraming ways, in many ways, because of our, yung nangyari sa history natin and all that. It's been very hard for our country talaga to really progress in different ways. And so I think kung ito, kahit man lamang yung pinaka-basic foundation, right? I mean, we've always had strife sa country natin. Geographically, it's located in an area kung saan lagi talagang pagdadaanan ng bagyo, nasa earthquake zone, mga ganun ba? So, plus pa yung nangyari sa ating, sa ating people because of all the
Yes, yes, yes.
colonialization na nangyari. And so, kung itong aspect na ito, which is actually very possible, hindi ba, Doc Grace? Kaya nga I'm so excited, which is very possible actually to happen with the right, of course, information, reform na mangyayari from the very foundation nito. So for example, starting early, information dissemination and the actual practice of it, ito talagang pagiging blue zone natin is so possible. So imagine if tayo yung parang maging unang, although may mga blue zone areas na alam natin, but imagine hindi lang siya magiging isang specific locale. So for example, in Okinawa, di ba, yung sa Japan, which is yung sa Asia naman na counterpart ng blue zone natin, it's a small area lang nung Japan, for example. And even that, merong mga contention sa studies. Imagine if yung buong country natin, right? So that's what's really so exciting for us. And I think, yun nga, it's so meaningful in a way na dahil ang pagiging blue zone is not just about yung parang health lang in one aspect nga, like what you mentioned, it will encompass a wider range of other things to really make it to that centenarian. Kasi if you look at all the, yung nabanggit mo na 9, kind of points, characteristics, it's more than, although, what we will talk about and our lifestyle, like low carb and fasting, plays a big role, but it takes into account other things as well.
Yeah.
So, yun yung exciting kasi we can always have a choice. Like you always say, we're pro-choice. So, when we make that choice na i-optimize yung ibang aspects na yon, then we can certainly talagang reach that kind of yung goal or yung ganong klaseng state, yung
Yeah.
optimized state.
And if I
So,
can
yeah.
add a little, no, if I can add a little, although it really may sound a little sad, I really get your point regarding our history as a people talaga, no. As people, marami na tayong history, and karamihan actually sa Filipinos ngayon don't really know the real history of the Philippines. How Filipinos became who we are right now, kung bakit tayo grabe kung makatingala sa other countries where it is normal for Filipinos to look down Filipinos. Why it is parang normal na kung sino pa yung hindi mo nga, yung sino pa yung magkaiba mong lahi, yun pa yung parang somewhat, we are okay with them. But for us, no, we have this tendency sometimes to put down ourselves, to put down our race. And although we are looking at having a race as one, the whole world, no? Hindi tayo nagiging regionalistic lang or nationalistic lang. We are incorporating as a whole, but we are emphasizing on our identity as Filipinos to really give value kung anong meron tayo. And hindi man natin ma-change yung kung ano yung nakaraan. How we were colonized, how our independence were stolen from us actually. And that pride, no, na tayo mismo sana yung nag-gain ng independence natin, that has something to do with why we are why we have this normal Filipino na stigma presently. Pero what we can do is to move forward. And for all of you who are watching right now, I think you are one of those na mga sabi natin mga possible game changers of the future. We may be few for now, but if we become strong, no, and we become loud with what we know, with helping others, eventually it will, as what your platform nga, no, that I really admire, it's level up. It will level up everyone. So we can start with leveling up ourselves, and hinay-hinay. You can just see it slowly. Everybody around you will also level up. There is this idea na you are the average of 5 people you interact with. Or kung hindi man 5 people, 5 platforms, kung sino man yung fina-follow ninyo, you can be an average of 5 most influential na entities sa buhay nyo. So if you want to level up your life, you surround yourself with influences na makakapagpa-improve sa inyo, and you just wouldn't know na ikaw rin ay magiging part ng other people's lives, and you also help them level up their own lives.
So beautifully said. Alam mo, yung ripple effect talaga niyan. And thank you, Doc Grace, for really, driving that point home. Because yun nga din talaga yung naging talagang primary driver, why that platform was put up. So yung mga hindi po nakakaalam, so yung platform na itinayo ko po, yung the Filipino Success Movement, it's a very holistic platform where you're looking at, sabi nga ni Doc Grace, leveling up different aspects of your life. Kaya din napunta doon yung aspect ng nutrition kasi syempre vital part yun. But beyond that, we also have to look at other things. So nandun din yung leveling up in your wealth, in your, mindset, dahil you can never tease them out of each other. Para talagang interconnected yan. And yun nga, I think halaga nung point na yun regarding yung sa colonization natin kasi we lost our identity as a people. And dahil nga dyan, nagkaroon ng effect din, nag-translate yan into our lifestyle. So for example, because you're looking up to, let's say, American rule, for example, so ano nangyari? We started to adapt their nutrition, their culture. Ngayon, yung ating talaga, kasi kung iisipin mo ang totoong Pilipino, yung katutubo, yung walang colonizers, ano ba talaga yung diet nila? We are a coastal people. So it's mainly, and nung panahon na yun, wala namang mga overweight. We're talking about yung talagang indigenous po, na Pilipino, or even yung mga talagang from the Malay na race. If you think about it, talagang ang diet nila is, very lean, very, very appropriate sa ating build, sa ating body type, sa ating flora and fauna. Kasi syempre, iba din dito sa atin, iba din yung mga nasa abroad, right? And so, evolution-wise, we have adapted to the surroundings na mainit, ganyan. And so, we lost that Kasi, syempre, when the colonizers came, we adapted yung kanilang way of eating, mga ganyan. Di na bago na po. Pumasok na ngayon yung mga processed food. Kasi in the US,
Fast
di ba,
food.
for example, very uso nun. I guess, nung panahon ng war, dyan unang nag-propagate yung mga canned goods, yung mga ganon, right? Mga chocolates, mga ganyan. So, it is very much far removed from yung tunay talaga nating pagkain na yung kinakain ng mga ninuno natin na mainly seafood, mainly kung merong mga animals, hindi siya yung processed, it's whole food, yung talagang, yung gumagala-gala lang dyan at kumakain ng damo. So, grass-fed na tinatawag natin, yung ganang organic. So, we veered away from that. And what happened was, it then like infiltrated our culture, and of course dahil malaking bagay ang nutrition and yung way that we nourish ourselves, doon na nag-start. So kaya nga sa data natin nakikita ito, lagi itong pinapakita din ni Coach Dave Aguila. So just acknowledging the founder of LCIF, Coach Dave Aguila, he always shows this data about the obesity in the Philippines. Sa tatandaan mo yun, Doc Grace, yung pinapakita niyang graph lagi sa atin na ito yung trend. And look at this, guys, parang dito parang 50s ba yun or something. And that coincides talaga with the influx ng ating, we don't have data from the Spanish rule, but Europeans, kasi Europeans in general, and at that time, wala pa naman yung mga processed food na yan. So, it wasn't much of a big influence, but when ito na, dumating na yung American rule and syempre Western influence with the processed food and stuff, then doon natin nakita yung uprise nung ating mga obesity, and of course mga kaakibat na medical conditions from that kind of lifestyle. So so Doc Grace.
Yes, and to emphasize, no, why are we focusing on nutrition? Why are we focusing on low carb before this episode? It's because meron tayong hierarchy of needs, and part of the hierarchy of needs, basic needs talaga yan, pagkain, security. And if we don't address that properly, kahit nasa higher hierarchies ka na, pwedeng-pwede na hindi mo ma-enjoy yung success mo in life, yung wealth mo, yung success mo sa iyong business, sa iyong career, if your health is jeopardized. That is why we are first ensuring na tama yung health natin. We are optimizing our health through low-carb nutrition and fasting and the sustainable way, especially kung ano yung available sa ating locality and match talaga sa ating DNA, sa ating where our environment is, sa climates plays a role. Iba yung metabolism ng isang tao when they are in a cold country than in a tropical country. Kaya nung unang panahon, so sa mga time, for example, no, ng mga hunter-gatherers time, ng mga Paleolithic period, yung mga puti na nasa cold country, yung mukha nila, meron na talagang suot. May mga damit na. But us here in the Philippines, even right now, in our tribes, yung mga tribal natin, wala pa ring suot. It's because there's no need for all of these clothes sa atin. It doesn't have a somewhat protective value, kumbaga. Tayo ngayon, meron tayong mga damit. It's just because of somewhat the cultural trend. But it's no longer based on physiological needs. Yung pangangailangan talaga. So those things matter. And our other activities and how we live our lives is also gonna play so much role. So nutrition and food intake, okay, is actually one of the common nine. So magkaiba man, there are some, no, who are saying na meron talagang mga blue zones, like say for example in Italy or in the Mediterranean region, where they consume some degree of mga high carb foods. They have some bread, they have some pasta, pero we have to take into context yung environment nila. They have a colder climate wherein yung basal metabolism nila will also need a little more glucose, a little more food, a little more extra whatever. Pero all of them, kung meron man silang common, wala silang kahit anong processed foods. Okay? Processed foods, the presence of high amount of fructose na isolated, they have some fruits, pero hindi rin siya ganon ka-unlimited, and they don't have the seed oils, kumbaga. Most of the oils that are used, either olive oil, natural oils, no, from fish, from salmon, from nuts and seeds. So those are the common foods among these blue zones when it comes to nutrition.
Yes, and actually, we talked a bit about this a little bit more extensively. Kung yung mga naka-attend po ano ng ating low-carb con, yung ating actual live na low-carb convention, kung naka-attend kayo, you probably already know about this kasi we talked about this extensively doon. And so tonight, ang gagawin lang natin, Doc Grace, is parang, like just a primer for them dahil ito ay talagang malawak na usapin talaga ito. And so, and what's exciting for us, kasi dahil now we have our Low Carb Con recordings available na po. So if you want to really like dive deeper into this, meron po kaming yung ating Low Carb Con recordings para naka-attend na rin kayo ng aming convention is already available. Nandiyan lang po sa ating page yon. But again, very interesting kasi itong mga different aspects na ito, na kasi we're looking at this now from a very ngayon parang very holistic lens tayo, naka-step back tayo, and ang magandang maintindihan is foundational lang talaga po ito, like what Dr. Grace has said kanina. Yung food really resides in the physiologic needs. Kung nakita nyo na po yung triangle, yung Maslow hierarchy of needs natin, I also made a video about that. And yun nga, very, kasi foundational siya. You have to get that right first, and then magpa-progress tayo, mag-aakyat tayo. There will be progress and growth as we ascend the triangle. And dun sa tatsulok nun, sa dulo ng tatsulok, we will find the parang pinaka, kumbaga, pinaka, what will give our life purpose? Yes, yung pinaka-peak niya, what gives our life meaning? So, and syempre, part nun, ang big foundational nito is nutrition. So, proper nutrition. So, that's why we're so excited kasi talagang dream naming dalawa makita ito nga yung pag-unlad ng ating country in that way. Kasi it starts with the individual eh. Ang pagbabago ng isang bansa ay nagsisimula sa pamamayan nito, sa pagbabago ng bawat mamamayan nito. Okay, so what that means is if every person, like what she alluded to earlier, if every person will will grow within themselves. Imagine yung makakadaupang palad niya, right? Like they meet another person, so it's gonna start to ripple. Magkakaroon siya ng ripple effect. So nakita niyo po, for example, di ba, may kapitbahay kayo, tapos nakikita niyo, dun yun magsa-start Doc Grace, right? Sa community natin, kapitbahay or even mga katrabaho, napansin na, uy, pumayat ka, anong ginagawa mo? Tapos nasusustain nila, right? And so, dyan nagsa-start yung lifestyle. Then, from that, yung growth mo, your own specific journey, so, nag-improve na yung iyong lifestyle. Tapos nakita nila, parang may nagbabago sa'yo, parang you're becoming a bit more, purposeful in the way that you're living, you're becoming compassionate, parang nag-iiba ka. Naku, curious ngayon yung mga taong nakapaligid sa'yo, mga katrabaho mo, yung mga kaibigan mo, kapitbahay mo, and then, of course, with this curiosity, and if they like what they see, so in this case, nakita nila, wow, nag-improve yung health mo, you became calmer, nag-i-improve yung negosyo mo, then they start to wonder, what's happening here? I'm also interested. I want the same thing, right? And so doon kami talaga na-excite ni Doc Grace kasi that evolution, yung progression ng bawat tao with a very firm foundation, proper nutrition, tapos tamang mindset, then that can have this talagang really domino effect, if you want to call it that, or ripple effect. And ano mangyayari pag lahat ng tao ganun na? Right?
Yeah.
Kaya nga, it excites us so much kasi we're really like working hard on laying down the foundation here para eventually it will help with yung continuous progression, continuous growth natin, not only as individuals, but collectively as a nation. So, yun yung spiel ko doon, Doc Grace. Alam mo naman ako, I'm so passionate when I talk about that aspect.
Yes, and to add, no, speaking of our low carb con videos, for those interested naman to blue zones and nutrition, although hindi talaga yung parang focus natin tonight, but if you wish to know, alam nyo ba na pwede palang magkaroon ng Mediterranean low carb Pinoy way? Pwede
Oh,
tayong tumaas yung
yeah.
omega-3 intake natin, pwedeng tumaas yung makomplete natin yung nutrient profile just by eating certain foods na very available sa ating locality, very affordable, available sa buong Pilipinas kahit saan ka man. And that is actually tackled by one of our resource speakers in Low Carb Con, si Chef Ed Kawit, no? An engineer turned into a culinary specialist and now specializing in many of these dishes na aims to really promote health and even using food as medicine. So you can check on that. If hindi pa kayo naging part ng low carb con, this is the best time because the recording is up and you can take your time kasi sobrang ganda ng mga topics and you can really incorporate more. And part of don is also about holistic wellness na summed up by Doc Iris at the end of our second day. So it's really, really one of those amazing. I think yun yung mga webinars and mga conventions na parang hindi ka talaga maboboard kahit buong araw, dalawang araw na straight. Everybody is there. Sobrang taas po ng aming live viewers during that time. So those I hope no na for those who attended the low carb con, they felt the improvement because everything is about vibration. When you started to vibrate no with this mindset, with this thinking of becoming healthy, improving your health, no, kung merong vicious cycle sa, say for example, sa mga sakit, dito naman meron tayong tinatawag na virtuous cycle. It's a very beautiful cycle na once you do something good in one aspect of your life, it will lead to another good decision in another aspect of your life until eventually lahat ng ito, it's very you will live in a very harmonious manner, always with a peace of mind, with sense of fulfillment and sense of purpose. And kung ano, kahit hindi ibig sabihin na hindi ka na problema, of course, problems and stress can be a part of our everyday, but how to address it, parang the answer just lays down, di ba? Di ba? Have you experienced that then?
Yes, alam mo, Doc Grace, I love what you said. Isusulat ko, ito nga sinusulat ko siya, tina-type ko siya eh. This virtual cycle, yung sinabi mo, I just want to focus on that very, quickly lang, kasi let me write it down. Kasi, ang ganda ng concept na yun, ha? Ikaw talaga, you always surprise me with the, yung mga, the way that you beautifully sum up things. Kung merong vicious cycle, yun yung negativity na feedback na parang the loop that feeds on its own para maging more negative. Ayan, meron na tayong bago, virtuous cycle. I love that. Kasi nga naman talaga, di ba, if you start with the one aspect, then there's no other way to go but to continue to improve. And so, yeah, tingnan niyo po itong concept na ito. Who wouldn't want to have this for themselves, and not only for themselves, pero ipasa din sa mga mahal nila sa buhay lalo na, right? Sometimes, as we've seen sa mga communities natin, usually it's, for example, the wife muna, tapos maku-curious naman si husband kasi kala trend lang yan. And then the husband will see, wow, parang let me try that too. And then si husband na rin. And then syempre, the kids na rin. So imagine, one unit of the family, nagve-virtuous cycle na. Right? Because it starts with how many stories have we heard about nag-start muna sila dun sa weight loss and then nawala na yung kanilang mga depression, anxiety, mga ganun ba? Right? And so there's that continuous improvement. So that's one unit of family. And then, sabi nga natin kanina, yung ripple effect na siya going outwards, and then before you know it, it's a community. Did you know, Doc Grace, merong isang advocate si Dr. Holberg. She's she's the medical director of Virta Health. Alam mo ba na sa kanyang locality, kasi she's such a big, proponent, she's, Virta Health, everyone who practices low carb and fasting, they know about Virta Health's researches. Diba? Kasi they're very big on reversal, like diabetes reversal. In fact, may data, may center sila. Alam mo ba na dun sa locality niya, yung mga restaurants, yung mga cafes, if you visit her locality, I forget kung anong state siya nakatira, they already have, like, in that state. Kaya nga gusto ko bisitahin nating dalawa yun, makita natin. They already are offering, like, every restaurant will have like low carb yung options, every grocery. So, ganun kalakas yung transformation effect nung kanyang advocacy. And it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
And dito sa ating bansa din, hopefully nga, with our growth and progression, starting with low carb nutrition, laying down the foundation of this, it'll only be a matter of time before tayo rin, later, maging blue zone area na rin talaga because of all these changes. Right? So, nakaka-excite. Imagine, no? Parang, oh, let's visit the Philippines so we can, di ba? Parang ganun na siya eh, yung kanyang tourism.
That's
It's more
really
healthy in the
true.
Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Hindi na more fun. It's more fun and healthy in the Philippines. Imagine that tagline. Pupunta dito yung mga tao just to avail of a vacation that's not only enjoyable and fun, but healthy. So magiging oasis
Yes.
na tayo of health,
Mm.
right? That's so exciting.
It's like medical tourism kasi there is such a thing as
Yes.
medical tourism. Yung mga tao pumupunta sa certain countries. Like say for example, South Korea is known for facial plastic surgery. So plastic surgery medical tourism, ganon. Or kung certain countries naman in Thailand or in wherever, meron silang parang pioneer or something that they're really, really good at. And for us, imagine it's going to be the first, if ever, if Philippines will become the medical tourism but on natural health and wellness. We have followers all over the world, no? So meron akong friend si Luis. He's actually an artist, American artist, and he wanted to visit the Philippines because he see that it's really a very beautiful place. At alam nyo ba, we are actually here and not really maximizing kung ano yung nandito. Number one, vitamin D deficiency. Gaano ba karami yung vitamin D deficient sa buong mundo? And Philippines is a land of endless summer. Yun yung sabi natin. Philippines is a land of endless summer with a chance of rain. Yun lang yun. Pero we always have sunny days. And that alone already gives you ample amount of vitamin D. Of course, with proper nutrition pa din. And it's not just that, it's also developing the community kasi mas madali ma-sustain if you have a community to support you. Imagine if you are doing it just alone, tapos hindi ka naging member ng community. So you wouldn't know if you're doing it right, doing it wrong, and eventually once you reach your goal, you can always go back, no? Pwede kang bumalik sa old lifestyle mo. But when what we see as those na nag-progress talaga and nag-improve, they are part of the community. They are active kahit hindi man sila ganon ka-vocal in their own, say for example, in their own personal life. But in virtual, we can actually maximize virtual communities. So hindi natin siya kailangan i-demonize na kasi online parating ganyan. We can maximize it. People find intimate connections. People find meaningful connections online. And when it takes one to know one, you'll really know when this person is also someone that you can relate with. Like for example, kaming dalawa ni Doc Iris, no, we haven't met in person, but we know, para sa amin, we are like sisters at heart. So
That's so
ganon.
true. Yeah. Yes. Alam mo, napakahalaga nung sinabi mo about community. I always, sa mga, ano ko, like, because of this, grounding again doon sa yung blue zoning and some of the common points sa mga blue zone areas, which is community is one of them. Napakahalaga po you have to couple that with what we call responsible consumption of information. Yung kasi tayo din mismo should be our own agents in terms of okay, sa ngayon nasa information technology explosion tayo, napakarami, 'di ba? And you can easily get caught online na lagi kang online, but if you know how to use it properly, like yung sinabi ni Doc Grace, it can really be very instrumental in your journey. So, shout out to all the communities who are really advocating for this. We highly encourage, like every live that I do, Doc Grace, I encourage everyone talaga, join all the communities kasi bawat community may kanya-kanyang take, may kanya-kanyang personality, right? It always adds richness to your experience. So, syempre, nandyan yung Life Without Rice, nandyan yung Low Carb Fasting Feasting, Coach Dave Aguila, LCIF, Kifi is also there, community ni Tito J, so OKS, One Keto Society, community ni Eileen, Dietary Philippines yata yun. Of course, yung own community ko, low-carb fasting and holistic wellness. So, marami po yan. Join all of them to add flavor to your variety sa iyong journey. Kasi without community support, ang hirap talagang i-sustain. Ang ano natin, goal is always sustainability. Kasi hindi siya trend eh. Like what some people kind of, misconstrue it as parang fad yan. It's a fad diet, it's a trend. We all know from all of our, interactions with our community members, from yung mga education, laging minimension, Doc Grace, and also si Sir Alan Cura dun sa kanyang wonderful talk sa ating convention, he discussed also about yung importance nga ng hindi kasi ito fad eh. It's something that we've been doing for the longest time. It's part of our evolution, yung ating, this way of eating, plus this way of the timing of the eating, it's deeply ingrained in our physiology. So alam natin hindi siya fad. Ngayon, nabibigyan siya ng kulay na na fad diet daw yan dahil nga if you actually don't have support and proper guidance. So very important yung proper guidance. Kaya I love yung mga master classes ni Dr. Grace, proper guidance. Kasi if you do it properly, ang mangyayari sa'yo is you can really sustain it, right? There is the possibility to sustain and adapt this lifestyle as yun na talagang lifestyle mo for life.
So it's going to be your new normal.
Your new normal, just like how we are all adapting to this pandemic. Ang ganda nung na-mention ni Doc Grace, I don't know if you've watched it, yung aking talakayan with Coach John. So by the way po, yun nga, if you want to, progress more in this parang journey ninyo, meron din tayong isang parang tawagin na lang natin siyang sister arm, yung Success Con. So may Low-Carb Con, may Success Con, para naman we ascend that triangle. Ngayon, yung kwento niya doon, adversity. So adversity quotient. So it's how we are, adapting dito sa changes na nangyayari sa atin. And so, really important to have this community support kasi may mga times na hindi siya madaling gawin pag wala kang tamang guidance. And so, to be able to adapt, to be able to have that factor, that adversity quotient factor, you will have to really become part of a supportive group. And napatunayan yan sa mga blue zone areas na, when they connect, when they have strong social connections, hindi lang sa family. Siyempre, family is very important. But also with the surrounding people, and that can be very meaningful connections kahit online kasi hindi naman pwede lumabas yung karamihan with the pandemic ngayon, right? It's, many people are locked down. At least with these, support from your other people, like what you said, when you're surrounding yourself with these people na are the same mentality na geared towards growth. Growth po, hindi yung ipo-pull down ka, hahatakin ka dapat pataas, then there's really no other way for you to go but up, right? Yeah. And so, yun, na-excite ako kasi we have this very unique bond dito sa ating communities, Doc Grace, and you can really feel it. People are unified, and we're so happy with the turnout ng Low-Carb Con po kasi talagang na-unify niya lahat. It's a unifying platform. We're all for, stronger kasi tayo as a whole rather than tayo eh. Yan na nga yung ginawa sa atin ng colonizers natin. They divided and they conquered. Kaya nga tayo na-fractionate as a people, right? And even now, sa mga iba't ibang landscapes like economic, political, and all that, nagkakaroon ng divisiveness. But at least dito man lamang sa ating lifestyle, Dr. Grace, we are unifying everyone.
And to add to that, no? Kasi merong nagtatanong, ano daw yung purpose? Baka na-lost na sila sa ating topic ngayon. So we are actually going back for those who just came in, no? Yung pinag-uusapan namin dito ni Doc Iris is about blue zoning. Yung blue zoning po, kasi yung blue zones, yun yung term na ginamit sa mga lugar na na-identify ng mga scientists na dun yung may pinakamatatanda, the longest lived people, no, na nag-gather sa areas in the world. So, nakita nila na meron palang mga common factor kung bakit yung ibang mga tao ay matataas talaga yung kanilang lifespan. Say for example, they reach 100 and above. Sa Philippines ngayon, lifespan natin, 72 for males, 75 for females. So, noon iniisip natin parang bonus na yan. But right now, pwedeng-pwede pala na ma-level up pa. We have this chance, no, of also getting that far and even better. Kasi nga with those age, yung mga merong 90s, 100 na yung edad, they are alive, but we don't know the real quality of life. If there's Alzheimer's, may dementia, kung meron nakakalakad pa ba, and all that. But we are looking into really reaching that age na okay tayo. So the ones that we've identified is of course no yung nutrition, proper nutrition, and of course the support of the community. That's why we are emphasizing if you can create your personal support like in your family, all the more, all the better. But try to make use of the free communities that we have online. I think everybody can relate, no? Yung mga fina-follow, yung buong timeline daw nila sa kanilang Facebook feeds, puro low carb, puro pagkain na low carb. Lahat na
Oh,
lang
that's
low
so
carb.
nice. Yeah.
Yes, and yung I would like to add emphasis din, yung adversity quotient. So ano yung adversity quotient? Adversity yung parang challenges natin sa buhay, yung mga problema natin na pwede pala natin ma-turn into something beautiful. Okay? So yung importante nga dito, actually marami nang nakapagsabi niyan. Hindi lang nila alam that the term is adversity quotient. Sometimes it is hiding in blessing in disguise. So yung iba, it was a blessing in disguise na tumaba ako because nung tumaba ako, nagka-interest ako sa low carb and nung nag-low carb na ako at nag-fasting, pumayat na ako and then that's when I realized that it's not just about weight loss. It is about optimum health, no? It is improving your health and it is about preventing illness. So prevention is better than cure. Kahit hindi tayo nasa med school, always nating naririnig yan, pero gano yan katotoo? Gano yan katotoo? And it can start with your plate, with your meal plate. And part of that is realization. That's why part din ng additional ng blue zones is yung sinabi ni Doc Iris no na we should increase our consumption of knowledge and also part of that consumption in general we have to be mindful about what we take in, kung ano yung inaalaw natin na info to get in our heads, kung ano yung inaalaw natin na pagkain na kakainin. So mindfulness being parang nasasabi ata siya na parang 80% rule. So don't always go 100%. Like kung kumain ka lang ng 80% full. After that, you stop. Okay? Take time. Take time in everything and then be mindful in everything. And that alone will give you so much consciousness. But mas magiging conscious ka when you are mindful. And yung iba, before, I admit, no, nung hindi pa ako ganun ka-familiar with mindfulness, ano ba yung mindfulness? So, mindfulness, isipan, and pagiging aware sa ginagawa mo. So, just by sitting right now, kung nasan kayo, being mindful that nandito ako ngayon, nakaupo, nanunood, and I am aware na nandito ako, may sinusulat o nakikinig, that is already mindfulness. And parang akala natin wala siyang value, but that practice alone will actually improve your brain functioning, wherein hindi na ito yung tawag nating kalat. Kasi marami, nakakalat ata yung isipan natin minsan. Like, it's all crowding our head and that crowding in our head can lead us into not the best decisions. But when we are mindful, okay, mas klaro po yung isipan natin and then we tend to decide easily. Our decision making is clear. The need to answer one thing, kung ano yung ipa-prioritize, it's becoming clearer. So, hindi siya the usual that the nutrition and low carb na pinag-uusapan namin ni Doc Iris because we want you to actually be part of this mindset na hindi lang basta sa nutrition, hindi lang basta sa health. The moment you improve your nutrition, the moment you improve your health, we will now start improving every aspect of our lives, no? So, yun talaga yung totoong core namin ni Doc Iris. And that is what we want you to have as well as you as an important part din ng community that we are building.
Yes, so beautifully said. Alam niyo po, nung una kaming nag-connect ni Doc Grace, kasi nga, we first connected dahil nga yung common namin, advocacy, but really, I think yung pinakauna talagang spark between us happened kasi nung na-mention yung talagang, kumbaga, what's beneath all the layers. And ito po talaga yon yung word na nakikita nyo dyan sa baba, that really is something common to us. Talagang core value namin siya. And from there, all of the work that we've done together, from co-founding, the first ever low-carb convention in the Philippines, and soon to be po, by the way, really great news, soon to be is going to be actually an international convention. All of the things that we are doing are grounded on this common, ano talaga naming dalawa na core value, which is itong mindfulness kasi na ito will lead you into a pathway, an avenue of living that gets you so optimized in so many vibrational frequencies, in so many channels, in so many aspects of your life. And yes, maaring yun ang entryway ninyo dyan is nutrition, and that's a great start kasi yun naman talaga ang foundation, di ba, Doc Grace? But eventually, katulad ng nabanggit niya kanina sa mga late pong naka-join, sana mapanood po ninyo ulit ito. Pero yung napakaganda niyan sinabi is, we want to take you all on a journey into this virtuous cycle kasi this can only really improve your life and enrich it so purposefully in so many ways. So yun po talaga yung aming goal, and yun nga, itong blue zoning the Philippines will be actually an end result. Magiging end result kasi siya niyan eh. Kasi think about it, if you optimize each person's health, tandaan po ang health, ano ba ang definition ng WHO ng health? Health is not just the absence of disease, but it's actually being optimized in key aspects. So emotional, physical, so syempre physical, right? Emotional, mental, and let me add na lang dyan yung spiritual aspect in whatever way you conceive that to be. But that's actually the definition of health. And so, ang hope namin is makasama kayo sa journey na ito para lahat po tayo are continuously improving in this virtuous cycle. So yun po yung, and that's why, just ng talk natin. And Doc Grace, basahin ko lang dito yung kasi may nakita ako. Let me have a look. Where was that? Ayan, sabi, ay kaso walang name. Starts by being mindful, then focus on it. Thank you daw, Doc Grace, sa napakagandang quote. Sabi ni Ms. Monatsky, prevention is better than cure starts with my plate. Ang ganda po, ano? Yes, that's a great, great quote. Talaga naman, prevention is the key. Meron ako nakita dito, ito, sabi ni Miss Ruth, ang isa sa ating active mga community members, sa Life Without Rice, really great testimony sa kanyang health transformation, Doc Grace. She said, mindfulness is a skill. It needs to be acquired, developed, and practiced in every aspect of our daily living. And especially po, especially sa ating pagkain, sa way na paggalaw. By the way, guys, if you want the katutubo, na tagang pure Tagalog version of it, mindfulness is pagtutuon loob. Tutuon ka sa loob mo, you have an awareness of what's going on inside kasi it starts within the self. Later on, as you cultivate that and as you get deeper in your practice, magsistart na yung awareness mo sa labas, And so, when that happens, ang mangyayari sa'yo is you begin to, create, make decisions that are very, conscious, decisions that allow you to grow. So, yun po yung kanyang, kanyang after effect. Okay, so thank you for that, Miss Ruth. Oh, ito si Mr. or Miss Lee CC, Blue Zoning the Philippines. Yes, yan talaga ang ating, goal. Again, it's gonna be an aftermath talaga ng itong lifestyle na ito. So, I think, Doc Grace, any last words for them before we bid goodbye? Hopefully, magkaroon ulit tayo ng isa pang session,
Yes. So, this is just the start, okay? Huwag kayong mag-alala. Doc Iris and I are preparing something even more beautiful for all of you. Hindi lang po ito para sa atin. We are looking at Philippines talaga as a whole. And since Filipinos are all over the world, we are looking at international talaga, lifting up. But you, us being here, and as our pinaka-tribe, having the right tribe, which is also important in the blue zone, is one thing na essential for all of us to really progress. At wala pong competition dito. What is beautiful when you are in this virtuous cycle is walang competition because you realize that abundance, the resources, and everything, hindi po yan nauubos. Okay, it's just in our mind. But if we have an abundance mindset and success mindset, no, hindi yan nauubos. When you try to lift up others, mas dadami lang yan na mas dadami. Okay, so wala pong competition in our communities. We are here to help everybody level up. Okay, and I hope you will continue to support our platforms. You share the platforms, our groups with your family members because, of course, at the end of it all, we don't want to live alone. We want to live with our loved ones. We want to live with our families. So, what's the better way to do that than isama sila into our healthy way of eating, healthy lifestyle. Join kayo sa next na abs challenge ni Doc Iris na hindi ko na na hindi ko nagawa. Next time sasali na ako. And all of those. So it's joining in the virtuous cycle, and what's good is for us to start. And yung importante dyan, no matter daw how slow you go, as long as you do not stop. Okay? The improvement, no? Yung, what is it, Kaizen? Yung little continuous improvement na concept, yun talaga yung pinaka-importante. So, never stop learning, never stop exploring, never stop improving. And eventually, we will all reach that peak health, no? Peak satisfaction, and part of that still, no, as what mentioned by Doc Iris, is spirituality, and it's encompassing everything, having the faith, having something that you really believed in. That is already a major aspect of holistic wellness. So we will see you again kung kailan man ang next namin na episode. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Yes, maraming salamat po sa lahat. And again, available na po yung ating low carb. Para po, you have this really like solid base. Napakarami po natin doon ng mga resource speakers, so much wealth of knowledge. Anywhere from, low carb fasting, fusion, yung katulad ng na-mention ni Doc Grace, all the way to history, so all the way to women's health. Yung meron po dyan mga PCOS. A beautiful talk by Dr. Kim, who is our specialist who talked about PCOS. So, ang dami po talagang learnings dito sa ating convention. And even if you weren't able to attend, andito na po siya. We will be posting the links to this. Kasi we really, want you to have that solid foundation talaga. Kasi it starts with that. Without the solid foundation, mahirap. We love the concept of the virtuous cycle, continuous growth, Kaizen nga, na-mention ni Doc Grace, this small continuous improvement, but we need to have a solid foundation. So we're really happy po for, being here with you tonight. Hopefully we'll come on again live together. Yes, kami ni Doc Grace. As the time you will continue to see us. And maraming salamat po yung mga hindi na nabate sa comments. Ay, sabi ni Ronald, Sir, hindi po ako si Doc Fee. Mas maganda po si Doc Fee. So ako po si Doc Iris. Pero next time po, we will consider. Of course, we will bring on our resource speakers. Yan, we're gonna bring on Doc Suzette and all the fantastic resource speakers po natin. Ito si Doc Fee. Andito si Doc Fee. Give me a moment. Saan si Doc Fee? I saw her. Sana yun? Doc Fee, where are you? Ayun, may nakita akong comment. Yeah. Ito. Sabi ni Doc Fee, make an impact. Impact is the first step to create the virtuous cycle. Yeah. And you make that impact by really demonstrating, right? To all the people surrounding you, walk the talk. Pag sinasabi mo sa kanila na, mag-low carb ganyan ka, you have to actually be yourself, the walking epitome nung kung ano yung advocacy rin, right? So yeah, it starts with making an impact. So yun lang po for now. Yung mga hindi, we'll look at all the comments, Doc Grace, and we will try to answer them or, tackle in our next live together. So hopefully, you will all still be there to be with us. So let's all join forces. Let's all continue with this virtuous cycle. So thank you po and bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.